We want to honor God because He sees everything.
You were born with a plan and a purpose. He's the God of all things possible. He's the God of all miracles.
Welcome to Grace with Nina Michelle. I'm Michelle Humphreys.
And I am Nina Keegan. Welcome to the broadcast today. Today, this is part 2 of a very exciting program. We are so honored and so blessed to have this amazing guy on our show that's just God-led, God-fearing, and we hope you go back and listen to part 1. But Michelle, you want to introduce?
You all know him. If you own a TV set, if you own, most everyone owns a MyPillow, right? So we are talking to the one and only MyPillow guy, Mike Lindell, who has the most amazing story. Mike, you were telling us, we have a part 1, so go back and watch part 1. You do not want to miss it. It's his story of how God delivered him out of a crack addiction, and we're going to pick it back up where he gets saved. So tell us, Mike, how did you find Jesus?
Well, my book is called What Are the Odds from Crack Addict to CEO? And when you talk about odds, remember, well, in part 1, I said, I was a professional card counter, but I'm talking about odds is I always look at mathematics saying that God exists. And one of the things is if you see something that's a 1 in a million, or this is like a 1 in a billion, or wow, this is impossible, when do you add them all together and you call it a miracle? Okay.
Amen.
So for me, all my life, you'd see my 14 near-death experiences, all these things that would happen. I got to the point I was almost taking them for granted. Show me more, God, show me more, show me more. And then I thought I was saved. I really did. I believe in God. I mean, I thought that's pretty simple. I believe in God, but I knew there was more because the gal that my wife, Kendra, she's. At the time, I should see she had more of this personal relationship, and things started happening to me then in the summer of actually it was the spring of 2015, and where I had this dream that I would be in this picture with me and Donald Trump, and I had never watched The Apprentice. I had never seen. I knew Donald Trump, obviously a very famous entrepreneur in this country, but I didn't have. I go, wow, that's a weird dream, and it was very vivid. And then of course, in June, he comes down the escalator running for president. Now, you all have to realize I had never voted in my life. I didn't think politics affected me. I was out smoking crack or didn't care or doing my entrepreneurship, And in fact, at one of the rallies down the road, they introduced me as a former Democrat and the founder of MyPillow. I said, I didn't find MyPillow. I invented MyPillow, and I was never a former Democrat. I was a former crack addict. And then everybody but anyway, I had never voted. So then when you came down that escalator, all of a sudden that dream, was very intriguing. So I had to learn real fast what a Democrat was, what a Republican, and I couldn't believe this divide in the sand of these. I'm going, wow, if you're over here, you got to be this. I mean, it was just a lot of stuff I learned then in 2015. Well, then we rolled into 16, and I remember the summer of 16, I was going to do a part in a movie. It's called Church People. If y'all see, it's a great movie. You guys should get it. Anybody out there listening you can go to Frank's Speech, my website, and you can see all the movies I have there that I've been in. But this one was a movie. It was flying out to California, and and we had just got up to 10,000 feet. And I remember saying a little prayer in the front seat there going, on the bulkhead, going, okay, God, what do I have to do? I know I've seen this in a dream. What do I have to do with Donald Trump? And I need an answer. And at that moment in time, my phone dinged. It said, Mike, this is Donald Trump. It was an email. This is Donald Trump. Will you meet me at Trump Tower in New York City? I'm going, God? I mean, for me, it wasn't I was going to meet Donald Trump. I was answered in real time. And I'm almost in tears. The flight attendant's going, are you okay? Yes, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. And the guy next to me, I don't think he can speak English. He was all worried about me. And I'm going, no, it's great. Well, things started happening from that point on that are basically impossible. I mean, then all of a sudden I'm invited to the White House, where if everyone's seen that, where I get in there, and I never thought I'd even be allowed within 10 feet of the White House with my record, my past, and I get in there, and there's a round table. There's like all these people were invited, these manufacturers in the country, and this. Well, I'm going to backtrack a little. So anyway, that meeting happens in the summer, August 15, 2016. And that meeting came to fruition with Donald Trump. And I remember overlooking Central Park at 3 a.m. I was with Kendra, and I was just going, God, why am I, it just felt that it would change history if I overslept or anything happened. And but all these things that happened leading up to that were absolutely impossible if God hadn't aligned up. I mean, we don't have enough time in a day to tell you all that. It is in the book somewhat that I've explained this, but I already knew that there was something just so divine going on. And I remember going in, they said, you're not going to meet him alone. And they also said, whatever you do, don't tell him you were a crack addict and all this stuff. And well, I get over there at 10 o'clock was the meeting, and sure enough, there's about 6 guys around me, and they all started getting pulled off. And so it was down to 1. And then a gal that I had met, his assistant, I'd met 2 days prior, another divine appointment. She came up, his phone rang, came up and said, you don't have to wait for him. And she brought me around the corner into his office, just like in my dream. And it was just him and I then. And he walked up and he says, Mike, you always wear your cross? I said, and he says, yeah. He said, are you a Christian? I said, yeah, Mr. Trump, this is a divine appointment. But it was so natural. I wasn't nervous talking to him. And almost right out of the gate, I said, yeah, I used to be a crack addict. And I kind of looked at him like, and I said, I want to have this, I'm going to have a network to help addicts. It's going to be called the Lindell Recovery Network, which I have, the LindellRecoveryNetwork.org, everybody. It's free. Go there. Anybody you think is incorrigible, send them there. Getting off your addictions is just a bonus, but it'll get them to Jesus. That's the big win.
Amen.
And anyway, he said, we were talking, he goes, yeah, and I'm going to stop the drugs pouring in. I'm going to shut down that board. But it was just 2 people talking. He had no agenda other than he wanted to know, how are the pills, you make your stuff here in the U.S. Is there anything problems with it? But he's asking my opinion. Here's some, ex-crack addict asking my opinion. Anyway, when we left there, I went and talked to his employees at Kendra, and I did a lot of them. And every one of them, no matter who we talked to, said the same thing. Great man, great boss. And he had done something for them personally to help them. And so I was just validating him, the man I had just met, talked to for almost an hour, that, I've been in a lot of places. You read my book. I've had guns to my head. I've had to read a room. When I owned a bar for 13 years, I had to read what everybody was thinking, what they were going to do, were they going to, how they were going to react to different things. And he just had a heart there that was just, I want to help the country. I want to save the country. I want to help people. It was amazing. And it was good problem solution. I thought, wow, anything he says there, if that works, it's like, it made sense to me what it would manifest to help all people. Well, I went back to Minnesota, and I couldn't wait to tell everybody. I was the media's darling, everybody. I was the media's darling. I could say, I'm going to walk across the street. They'd say, how fast? How many people are you hiring today, Mike? You're hiring all these ex-addicts, the company of second chances. You're the American dream on steroids, going from a crack addict to this huge company of My Pillow. Remember, by then we were in every box store in the country, the #1 selling product in every single box store in this country, bar none. from your Walmarts to your Costco's to your Kohl's, the number one buy through of a $60 product. Same way with the shopping channels. So I get back there and I'm going, I didn't know that, politics would be, that they would be, you couldn't say who you liked or whatever, but it was crazy. So I went back and I told my board, I said, yeah, I met Donald Trump. I want to do a press release. You guys should, he's amazing, all this stuff. If he does this, I've never met a president before, but this guy, if he's president, he's going to do some good things. And I remember my one, actually he's, turns out he's a Democrat, but he goes, he says, Mike, he said, he goes, you're going to ruin our company if you do this press release. I go, you'll lose half our business. I go, why would I lose half our business? And I walked out upset, and my CMO, she came out and she goes, we didn't get this far by you not listening to God. Remember, I would pray and be proactive all the time, even though I wasn't saved yet. So that was, I would always talk to them.
Amazing story.
Right. I would always talk to people and I process it by telling them stuff, even about God and Jesus. Like back in my old days when I had the bars, and the next morning, after we'd be up, up all night on cocaine or something, the next morning they'd find Jesus, and I'm still going, I read about him in jail. You got to hear about Revelation and stuff.
Hey, Mike, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back. So hold that thought. We'll be right back. You're watching Grace with Nina and Michelle.
When I started MyPillow, it was just a problem solution, one product company. Well, since then, with the help of my dedicated employees, we now have hundreds of products, some you might not even know about. To get the word out, we're having a $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use MyPillows, $25. MyPillow sandals, $25. And for the first time ever, our 6-pack towel sets, you guessed it, just $25. Our brand new 4-pack dish towels, $25. And I've never done this before. Premium MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, any size, any loft level, even king size for only $25. And there's so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code for our $25 extravaganza. Order $75 and over. Your entire order ships absolutely free.
Welcome back. You are watching Grace with Nina and Michelle with our very special guest, Mike Lindell. Such a fascinating story. Mike, okay now you've got Jesus. What is going on? How you're
Well, I wasn't to Jesus yet. Let me tell you what happened then. So they, in the summer of 16, after I had met him in August 15th of 2016, when I came back, I did do that press release against the advice of my board. And when I did the press release, all I said was I met Donald Trump. And remember, I was the media's darling, and I didn't even tell them what we talked about. And they attacked me like you wouldn't believe. I think one of them, the Star and Tribune, in one of their things there, they did something about the biggest drug dealer Mike Lindell dealing drugs in the Twin Cities. I said,
oh my goodness,
even my drug dealer stuck up for me. Mike's never dealt a drug in his life. Mike's never dealt a drug in his life. He tried to rid Minneapolis of drugs by doing them all.
But uncommon drug dealers.
But it was devastating at the time. They attacked me, and I guess that was probably training for what was going to happen down the road years later. The Better Business Bureau took my company from an A+ to an F. We were up for their highest award, their Torch Award, all because I went all in for Donald Trump. And it was disgusting. By the way, it's still an F. That's just fantastic. But then I ended up when I went to the White House, I remember I go in, there's like 18 people around this table, or 16, and there's this empty seat sitting there, and them going, and it was surreal. I go, wow, I can't even believe I'm in here. And they go, yeah, the president's sitting there. He wanted to sit by you. And I'm going, what? Well, when that went live to the nation, it was just me and him in that picture. And I think all my crack friends, that were left out there, these crack addicts, I think that day they all quit because they go, what is this crack addict doing next to the president? Jesus is real, because this would be impossible. So, and you got up to, and now I'm going to tell you, so all these things that happened leading up to that, I kept going, okay, this couldn't be happening if God wasn't real, if Jesus wasn't real. And I went into a retreat. It was called a drop zone. It's for veterans, but by another divine appointment, I got in there, even though I'm not a veteran. And I went in with so much hope that I could get what Kendra had, this personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And on the second day, on February 18th, everybody, 2017, remember, I always wore my cross on TV and stuff. I wore it everywhere I went, even back in the crack days, because I really wanted to be that person. But I did a full surrender on February 18, 2017, forgave myself the stuff I hadn't forgiven myself of that happened in the 80s, where God had forgiven me. But one of the things coming out of there, it was such a relief that I didn't feel the weight of the world on my shoulders. It was like, it didn't matter what I said, or I would say stuff from the heart. 2 months after that, I was at a big Christian event at US Bank Stadium with 50,000 people. And I led them in prayer. And I just told a little bit of my story and led them in prayer. If you'd have told me that I'd be doing that, I would say, you're zero chance. Okay. Zero. I remember going to, amusement park with my granddaughter a couple of weeks after that, and all these kids 17 to 22 years old coming up to me that were at that event saying that meant that's what they got out of it. That's what they're going, your story and your prayer and going, and it really showed me that I was on the right path and that confirmation. But then of course, then you roll up to the 2020 election, and you get up to there, and we were continually attacked, but not like when you get up to the 2020 election. And after that election, I look at numbers every day, mathematical numbers. If I see a radio show or a commercial that either did really good or really bad, that's a deviation from norm. And I dig into it till I find out why. It's all mathematics. You need a different input to get a different output. Something had to happen to make that change. If you got the power in numbers, things don't jump up or jump down.
Exactly. And speaking of numbers, we have 0 seconds left to this segment, but we're going to come right back.
So we're going to have 8 minutes left, and so we want to hear everything about the elections and all that you're doing, because we're proud of you. Okay, we'll come right back.
When I started MyPillow, it was just a problem-solution, one-product company. Well, since then, with the help of my dedicated employees, we now have hundreds of products, some you might not even know about. To get the word out, we're having a $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use MyPillows, $25. MyPillow sandals, $25. And for the first time ever, our 6-pack towel sets, you guessed it, just $25. Our brand new 4-pack dish towels, $25. And I've never done this before. Premium MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, any size, any loft level, even king size for only $25. And there's so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code for our $25 extravaganza. Order $75 and over. Your entire order ships absolutely free.
Welcome back to Grace with Nina and Michelle, and we are here with Mike Lindell and his fabulous story. Mike, fascinating. Tell us what's next.
Well, so then we were up to the 2020 election, and what I did in November and December of 2020, I looked into my own. I dove into it, going, this doesn't make sense. But what I did is I got the voter rolls and tradition, of who voted, how many voted, and who voted, and who registered to vote, and all these things. And I ended up getting them in all 50 states. But in November and December, every ones I was getting, one of the things that didn't make sense, like I would look into Nevada. Well, I don't know, 6,000 some odd people voted that didn't live in Nevada. And in Nevada, you got to be a resident 30 days at least and check into the rules and go, this doesn't make sense. Or you check a county or Minnesota, Wisconsin, didn't matter. Everywhere I looked, you had non-residents that voted or people that I found out later that weren't even alive. But I couldn't, one thing that didn't make sense to me was, okay, there's 5,000 people here. I'm going, let's all get together. I'm going to grab a group of 5,000. We're all going to run into Wisconsin. Who wants to go to Wisconsin and vote for Biden? And let's, go in there. And I mean, these are crimes. And I just couldn't imagine this many people or, not even close to that wanting to go, commit a crime by voting somewhere else. And so that didn't make sense. And then we got to January 4th of 2021. And I remember by that time, everybody knew the election was crooked. Everybody knew that, that it was stalled. And everybody really knew that. And anyway, on January 4th, I'm down in Georgia with our real president, and it was for the Senate runoffs in Georgia. And I sat and I go, all of a sudden it hit me. I got and prayed and I said, Lord, please have them steal both of those senators. And everyone's going, I've done this in my speech. I'm with, why would you do that, Mike? Your prayers were answered. Yeah, my prayers were answered. Here's why, everybody. If I was a marketer for evil, and this is the uniparty deep state globalist CCP that took our election. This isn't a Democrat Republican thing. I hope everybody realized that. But anyway, if I was their marketer, I would have said, give them back a Republican so they shut up about this election, because they were caught. They were caught. Mm-hmm. And instead, evil is greedy, everybody. That's the big advantage we have. They stole them both. If they'd have gave one back, everyone would have said, hey, we still got the Senate. Let's get them back in 2022. The traditional teeter-totter back and forth of this uniparty. But instead, they stole them both, and everybody remembered where you were that day, yep. And you were scared. But they had a safety net, and that was January 6th. January 6th plan, what it did is it went into the two important dates. That's January 7th and 8th of 2021. 1.2 million Americans were deplatformed. Vimeo, YouTube, Zuckerbucks, yep. Facebook, Twitter, all these. The president lost 100 million people on Twitter. Parler was deplatformed. And anyone that spoke out about God, against the vaccines or the election, they were deplatformed. Now, everyone else
shut down too. We were.
Right. And everybody else, exactly. Anyone else was afraid to say anything. So they were silenced like Nazi Germany. Now, let me tell you this. That was, when I grew up, it was like black and white TVs. If you turned them off, it'd go down to this little tiny dot. And as kids, we turn it back on, it would come back to life. Well, that dot was so small, and that was our voice. But our voice did not go out those days. And that's the day we started winning. On January 9th, by the way, I was given evidence that explained everything. And it was done with computers. And I've never let up from that day. And what's happened over the last 3.5 years, everybody, this is why I call 2020 election the most important election in history. If Donald Trump would have been put in right away back then, we'd have lost our country forever. Yep. And for that matter, the world. Because we had to find out, it had to play out the way God's intended. Over the last 3.5 years, we've learned that the uniparty Republicans that have blocked everything, we know where the blockers are, we know where the evil lies, things have been exposed. People that were, when you talk politics that were on the left, have now come to the center going, this doesn't make sense why they're doing stuff to destroy our country. And there's a bucket. I told our real president, you have two buckets going on. You have the bucket of common sense, the new Republican Party, his bucket. I said, they're pouring in from both sides as they continued to attack him and now even being shot. People are pouring into this bucket, and he doesn't give them a reason for them to leave. Okay, they just keep coming in from both sides. Okay, then there's another bucket going on, and that's the bucket of Jesus Christ. People don't reach out to God when things are going good.
Amen.
They usually do when things are going bad. And we're in the biggest revival for Jesus Christ in history right now. And all the stuff I tell people all the time, because they say, Mike, when you spoke at the White House a few years ago and you say, God's given us grace for such a time as this doesn't feel like grace. And I go, oh, but it is. This is the best time in history to be alive.
Amen.
God's given us grace for such a time as this to get everybody to God for eternity.
Yes.
So it's it's very beautiful.
Mike.
It is beautiful. Well, Mike, we have about 2 minutes left, and we'd love to hear what you'd like to say to the viewers.
What I'd like to tell everybody is there's great hope going on right now. There's a couple of things. One is go to lindellplan.com. Everything I've laid it all out there, what to plan to secure our elections. Now, obviously, we can't get rid of all the computers right now. By the way, there's 137 countries that have outlawed the computers in their voting. And over 100 countries have outlawed early voting and mail-in voting. But we got to deal, like I told our real president, with the platform we have right now. One of the things I want everyone to do is secure. Go get your mail-in ballot. Get your mail-in ballot. Don't open it. And then when you go to vote on election day, if they say you've already voted, you pull it out and say, no, I have not. That then becomes identity theft. You all need to download the Frank Social app. Go to the App Store, put Mike Lindell apps, get both Frank Social and Frank Speech. But Frank Social is our election app. It'll report real-time crime. You can find out what's going on in your own county. You can check out the plan at lindellplan.com. You guys, we get one shot at this. Everybody has choices. We can pray, and God's given us grace right now, but we all have to do our part. We all have a calling for such a time as this, and you all got to be courageous. Don't look out there and be afraid. Oh, this could happen to me or my business. This could happen like what happened to Mike Lindell. His business is the most attacked business in history. If we don't have a country, we don't have a business anyway.
That's right.
So everybody, this is it, everybody. And
that's right.
And if you can't go, and right now too, I want to say, if you can't go out and witness for the Lord right now, you're in the wrong business. This is the time. But things going the way they are, you can go out and be a witness. If somebody's in addiction, don't give up on them. Send them to LindellRecoveryNetwork.org. All the addicts out there, they're going to go there. They've got a phone. They're going to go check it out. And people, you've just got to, we've got 4 months left. They could get worse before they get better. But you know what? This is all part of God's plan. And when we get out to this amazing place we're going, you're going to look back just like I did on my life, and you're going to see everything had to happen just the way God intended. If you Google the word patience, you're not going to see a picture of me there, but I've had to learn that. I've had to learn patience.
Well,
okay?
I think it should be next to standing courageous. We are so proud of you for standing for the Lord.
Amazing.
And you have stood and you have endured. And so we appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Fabulous
Love your story.
Thank you, Mike. God bless you. And we pray for you right now in the name of Jesus, that God's hand would be on you, keep you safe and secure, and lead you and guide you with wisdom and strength in all that he has you doing. And may everything you touch prosper and succeed for the Lord and for his kingdom. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you, Mike, and all that you're doing. And for this country, we are so grateful. We love you.
God bless you.
And we appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on. God bless you.
Has science really ruled out God? Is faith at war with science? If you want to be equipped to respond to these claims and more, check out rdof.org.
The evidence he presents is so powerful and overwhelming.
Incredibly compelling, yet easily understandable.
To book a presentation or watch our free videos, go to rdof.org or find us on Facebook at RDOF Events.